we had an amazing evening, actually.
We did. We had a really great evening.
We did. We went to the playrooms, get all set up for everything, and we still wanted to try this Liberator furniture. That was my goal. I'm like, we cannot leave without doing that. So we did a lap. We were watching, seeing if we happened to run into anybody that would like to play, but we weren't particularly looking for anybody in particular. It's just like if something came up, that would be great. But again, this place and space is so great. So you can just sit down and watch. You can just enjoy the environment. You can just get lost in the rooms, and there's just so many people standing around and watching, and it's just really, really cool. So that's a great way to kind of get into the mood again for me. I really like it. So we did our laps, a couple of laps, started to watching a couple of our friends actually, or I was watching some of our acquaintances having some fun together, and that was really hot. And so then we decided to go back to the dungeon, because that was where the piece of furniture that we knew we wanted to try. We weren't sure if some of those other ones were the exact same,
right?
But we knew we'd seen the one that we wanted to try. So we go in there, and just as we walk in the door, someone's getting on that piece of furniture to use it. And the dungeon was busy at that point in time.
Yeah. It was busy often.
Yeah. So we watched. We just really like the vibe of the dungeon. And also for me, the music. I really enjoyed the music in there better than when I was in the playrooms, because the music in the playrooms are not part of really the playrooms. It's the sounds and the fucking. In the dungeon, always music is truly part of the scene. So I really liked that, and then they were playing dungeony type music, which just has a really strong bass line beat to it. It's just got a lot of rhythm. And so when you're doing dungeon activities and things like that, it's nice to have music that has some kind of, so it's actually very soothing and relaxing to me, and so I like that space. So we did another lap and then decided to go back to the dungeon and play in there.
Right.
So you want to talk about what we did?
So we watched for a while, and then the Liberator that we were interested in became vacant. So we absconded that. Moved it around to get the angle that we wanted, and it was in the corner, and so the dungeon is fairly small, so space is limited. You need to be aware of, when you're swinging something, who's sitting where behind you. So a bear actually came over and moved some of the chairs out of the way, so no one would sit behind us. And so we got that all set up, and I borrowed a couple of the floggers that they had, and you laid down on the Liberator, and we started a fucking scene, and that went really well. We were talking about this earlier at brunch. Some of the nice things, this is the first time we'd ever used the Liberator, especially in a dungeon kind of setting. But for flogging, it worked out really great, because when you're laying on the Liberator, they're not large, so you put a grown person on them and it covers most of the Liberator. Visually, what I learned for me as the flogger is that made it more powerful for me to see and interpret and understand your body language, because you're not like lost on a big queen size mattress. It's just you and maybe a little bit of Liberator around the corners. And so when you would lift a hand like that or clench a fist, it was so much more obvious because it wasn't hidden in the sheets or anything. It's like your hand came off the Liberator. I knew what that meant, and I usually knew why also. So it was good positive feedback, and I enjoyed that. The other thing is, when I walk around you, I have complete access to you from any angle. Normally on a cross or in a bed in a room, I have good access to you from one side, but if I go to the other side of the bed, you're 3 feet away from me now, and I don't have that. With the Liberator, I could get to any part of you from any angle at any side, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that for the fucking.
And this one, so Liberator has many different types and styles and things like this, and they are a sponsor for the Splash event. So they have Liberators in every room, and all their different styles, and the pillows and the wedges and the rounds and all the different things. And this is a little sofa piece, and it has a tall curve, and it comes down and then has a smaller curve, and that's it. So it's just kind of like that, a wave. But there are also different ones of that we learned, because we could see there were some differences, we just weren't really sure, and that's why we went back to the one that we used in the dungeon.
Right.
But the way I was sitting on it was that my knees were kind of in the trough, and I was leaning over the tall side of the furniture, so that's how you got the view, and were able to. So I was bent over, it's almost like I'm doggy, but I'm like laying on it. So it was I was totally relaxed. It was such an easy, I could have stayed there for hours because
Yeah, I kind of got that message.
Yeah, true. Because I could move if something was uncomfortable, or even if my knees got sore or whatever. But it really didn't, because it's very soft and cushiony. So that I really liked as well. The way to just be bent over. I wasn't laying flat, so it was, like I said, yeah, it was really comfortable to move.
So we borrowed 2 or 3 of Bear's toys and did a little flogging, a little paddling, and just generally had a really great time. Apparently we were there quite a while. Yeah. The full dungeon emptied out, then filled up again, then emptied out again, and we were still there. And Bear did mention that it was entertaining, so we were doing a good job. That's always nice to know. And again, like you said, the music was really good. So I distinctly remember, like, I think it might have been the last song right before we stopped the whole flogging thing. But the song was a kind of a remix version of You Put a Spell on Me. And it has a very distinct kind of rhythm. It's not just boom, 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 boom. It's bump, bump, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. And so the flogger just kind of got a mind of its own, and we were right in rhythm with the beat. And so I would like bump, bump on the ass, and then bump, bump on the shoulders, and then it was like bump, 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 bump right down the back, shoulders to ass, and just start the loop over. And it was just fun. It was really a lot of fun to be able to drop into that groove, and you and the music and the whole scene. I love putting on a show, especially in the dungeon. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and all the folks there. And so then when we finished, that's when we had the sex.
That's when we had the sex.
So we had the sex.
And that's where we started to focus on some of the key aspects of the Liberator, and why this model was particularly one that we wanted to try out. So as you say, it's a bit of a wave thing. And the one that we ultimately tried out, and we've done some research this morning at brunch, and we've learned that our ideas were correct. The saddle is a little deeper in this one, and the angle of the seats are a little steeper. And so it encourages slightly more of a sit-up kind of posture than a lay-back kind of posture. And what we had seen the other couple do was kind of sit in front of one another, and then use the curving of the Liberator to get traction and brace up against. And it looked a lot of fun, and it worked out really well for us.
And it is really fun, and it did work out really well. And you guys had talked similarly
in Atlanta.
Yeah,
we got to play
so we're
on
not
it,
quite sure if it's the exact same one. But so what we remembered was when Tristan talked about in Atlanta about lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last night we were like, oh, I totally get this now. This takes lazy fucking to a whole new level. And so what it is not great for is if your partner needs friction and a lot of happening, because it was hard to do that. So I said to him, look, I know this is not friction and heat, but you're just going to sit here for a minute while I enjoy myself. And I basically just used you as my own personal, own personal dildo. That was, which I like better because it moves with me, and it fights back sometimes. It's not just a piece of plastic. So.
What's that one? What's that rabbit thing or that machine?
The Moto Bunny?
Oh
yeah.
You're
the live version of a Moto Bunny.
The plastic doesn't do well for me. So that was so cool for me, because I'd never had anything like that at all. Yeah. We've never tried anything like that, and that was the first time I've ever even tried a piece of furniture like that. And I'm not as comfortable on top, and I'm definitely not comfortable where, like, have never been able to fuck where you're pushing with your feet. Like, I'm always on my knees.
We talked about that last night.
You did talk about that, how you were able to do that. So I have never done that. So I was able to do that on the chair, and so I totally
now you get it, right?
I know. So I think Tristan's already dialing up the Liberator catalog number, and I'm like, do we really want to buy one? Because then it just becomes normal, and it's like,
yeah, so normal fun every time.
I know, but it's
we're
fun
normalizing
being
fun
able
here.
to only do it at certain places. I don't know.
You
I'm like the girl that doesn't open the Christmas presents early because I don't want to ruin the surprise.
It's true. It's true. I did that all the time.
They'd be under the tree forever, and I might shake them and really want to know what's in there, but I don't.
I'd sit there and I'd undo it, and I'd tape them back.
See, I don't want to.
I'm used to like maybe 1 or 2 surprises, but yeah, I kind of knew.
So, anyways, we'll report back on to whether or not the Liberator shows up. I'm sure it probably will. But anyways, it really was. It was a lot of fun. And if the affiliate link for Liberator is in the show notes, then yes, we do have one. And go ahead and just click on that affiliate link in the show notes right now, because it'll be there by the time we get this out. But it really was. I totally see. We totally see. And we didn't. So we just tried it where I was against the tall side, then he was against the tall side. So we really, and then it was time to be done, and we'd been there quite some time. But we didn't get it. In other words, we still have other positions to try.
Oh yeah, numerous.
And those, they come with different parts. And so there's actually other little wedges that you can use in different areas to do different things. So there is
because there was one point where I said, I could really use a pillow right here for my head, because it just kind of wants to do that. And it was right there in the corner. It's like a Velcro on top. Here's your extra pillow.
Yep. That
so
would've been perfect
we could have done that, but we were too busy.
Yep. So we had a glorious time.
We had a great time.
Great time. We finally got to have in the dungeon, which if you listen to our review at Naughty New Orleans, the dungeon that we built, we never got to have sex in. And so this was finally our moment to spend some time together in a dungeon, albeit very tiny, in a dungeon, and have sex like we like to do and feel that vibe and that energy. And it was an amazing way to finish this splash piece on. We had our second round up in our bedroom later, and that was we had some kick-ass.
Wow. Yeah, we actually have to talk with y'all about some of that, because
Well, you can say it now.
Because we were a little tired by midday Saturday, and I had the ultimate energy pills in my bag. And I said, hey, do you want one of these? And we talked about it, and I said, the thing that I know about them, I've only tried them a few times, they were recommended by Nookie, actually.
Yes.
And I said, the one thing I can say for sure is they never make me jittery. I don't know if they actually boost my energy or not, but they never make me jittery. It is the one thing that we both know we did differently yesterday than we would normally do. And when our eyes finally rolled back up where they belong in our heads at the end of the night last night, we were both like, what the was that?
Where did that come from?
That had to be the new chemical we kicked into the mix.
I think it may be a combination of all of
probably
it.
a combination of lots of things.
3 days of sex and sexy vibe,
but
and being around all the
it was off the chain.
It was off the chain.
Holy shit. I never saw that side of the moon before. Wow.
That was fun.